Children's Dimetapp knows the sick day struggle is real. But it doesn't have to be. When sickness strikes, Children's Dimetapp works safely and quickly to relieve cough and other cold symptoms. And your kiddos won't run from its yuck-free sweet grape flavor. Trusted by parents for over 50 years. Children's Dimetapp, your stress-less sick day solution. Use as directed.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. During tax season, your personal info travels to a lot of places. Between payroll, your tax consultant, and the IRS. If your W-2 gets exposed, that's just the ticket for identity thieves. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't let identity thieves take you for a ride. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Hey, Chicago. What do you say? Cubs gonna win today.
Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise podcast. We're going to talk about the Cubs with Oleg and Praz. Guys, how are you?
Good. Just dying of the excitement of the Cubs offseason.
Yep. Hanging in there. Got battling a little bit of a cold, but seeing sunny Arizona is helping a little bit. Yeah.
Is it warmer there than it is here?
I would hope so.
Praz, what's the name of your other podcast in case people want to turn this one off and go listen to you on that one instead?
Absolutely. Other podcasts I do, Bums in the Bleachers. It's on the Chicago Sports Bums YouTube page. We did one last week, just kind of discussing, Cubs convention and what the off season has been so far. We don't really record all that often during the off season, but should be good for once a week, once the season gets going.
Didn't you guys do a 2.5 hour podcast about when you went through all the right fielders in Cubs history? Oh no, wait, that was us. That was me and Donahue.
You were on a podcast where we discussed one particular right fielder in Cubs history, but that went pretty long. But yeah, that was a good listen with you and Huey last week.
Yep, that was Jose Macias. That's what we talked about.
Jose
right?
Macias, exactly. Yeah. No, Jeremy Burnett's.
We did not. Was anybody disappointed we didn't talk about the one time when Miles Mastrobuoni played right field on opening day? That didn't come up in our breaking down of the greatest.
Can I ask you to not spoil anything? I haven't listened to it yet.
All right. The only thing I'll spoil is that repeatedly I kept trying to put Kyle Tucker in the top 5. Even though he still hasn't played a game for the Cubs.
Correct.
I'm just going to put him 5th. You can't.
And there's a guy that Huey insisted on being top 5, even though there are statistically better players that were up there, but he may have had the biggest impact of any of them.
Yeah, and he seemed very torn. He kept trying to justify. It's like, it's your list. Put him on it. I don't care.
Exactly.
I don't know if I should. It's like, I have my list. I got Frank Wildfire Schulte all over mine. Do whatever you want.
Yes.
Still the best how he got his nickname. From banging an actress who was in a play called Wildfire. Nice.
I think you guys had mentioned that before, too.
He was a left fielder, too, so he came up in the left field podcast. So we played all the hits.
Yeah.
So that's out there if people want to listen to that. Cubs made a huge move today. They signed Justin Tucker. I keep calling him Tucker. Justin Turner.
The Ravens.
Kyle Tucker's little brother, Justin. That's right.
Yeah.
What is he up to now? He's up to 18 masseuses that are complaining.
60 or 18.
Shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, and Deshaun Watson, destined to be teammates. Yeah.
That is not who the Cubs signed. The Cubs signed redheaded freak Justin Turner.
Yep.
Who I remember him, of course, for treating John Lackey very rudely in Game 2 of the 2017 NLCS. The 3-run walk-off homer.
No.
He wasn't the first person to treat John Lackey rudely that night, because Joe Madden treated him rudely by putting him in that game.
Hey, there was nobody left. They torched that pitching staff in Game 5 in Washington, and that was all that was left. Was
true.
Lackey pumping in 84-mile-an-hour fastballs. Amazing he couldn't get one by Justin. Turner is going to hopefully just be a bench bat because he's 40. And if he has to play third base for more than, 15 or 20 minutes in a game, I think there's probably a problem. I don't know that he can bend over anymore.
He does. He definitely had a good year last year. He definitely raises the floor of the bench. Like, the bench is better with him on it, and hopefully that's where he stays.
I would agree with that. I would say, as we discussed post last show and then on the Remember This Crap episode that you just did with Huey, I would say that if the Cubs play Justin Turner at third base in more games that the Cubs played Kyle Schwarber in right field, they're in a little bit of trouble.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not.
I believe last season Justin Turner only played about 6 games total at third base last season. But you can get by with him. I think
it's less than that.
Yeah, I thought it was for a couple of years he hasn't played there.
He's right. It's 6 exactly. 5 with Toronto, 1 with Seattle. 1 inning. Mariners put him in for 1 inning. That seems about right.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
He plays 1 inning at third base for the Cubs this year. That'll be fine.
Yep.
He played 43 games at first, and that's it. He played 10 games at second for the Red Sox in 23.
It won't show you on his fielding thing, but I think he played the majority at DH. If you actually look on the position breakdown in his hitting splits, it'll say it there.
Do you think that there's a chance that the Cubs just ask Seiya Suzuki to take some reps over at third?
Why not? He's right-handed, right?
Yeah.
How hard could it be? Just pretend you're playing a really shallow third base.
Hey, you know what? I mean, if Seiya Suzuki's in the field, the ball is going to wind up on the ground anyways, so.
Just smother it, Seiya. Even the pop-ups.
Right.
One guy we know they won't ask to play third is a guy who actually could in a pinch would be Ian Happ. Oh, don't ask the Gold Glove left fielder to do that. We've been through that once before. Just don't have. We'll just lose the DH in the third inning of a game because he can't go stand there for 6 innings.
Right.
That's fine. Turner 2 years ago with the Red Sox was really good. He had 800 OPS.
Yeah, he could still hit a little bit. It's got to be in a limited. Even with the Red Sox, I think it was in a limited capacity, right? Couldn't have been more than a few hundred.
And he didn't slug last year.
It was over 400, right?
383.
Oh.
But he had a 354 on base, so he still gets on.
God, I looked at all this stuff.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
If he's just in a bench role, he seems like the perfect replacement for a Mike Tauchman from what you lost.
Sure.
He's like a Patrick Wisdom that you actually don't feel like you're just wasting an at bat late in the game.
Correct.
If you bring him in. Because I think, don't you think that's what his role is? He's kind of the Wisdom. He's going to play first against the lefties that Craig doesn't want Bush to face, and he's going to
the bane of my existence. Exactly.
He's going to be the DH when Seiya has to run around in the grass somewhere.
Right.
That seems about right. The Cubs are shockingly right-handed on their bench, at least their projected bench. The only left-handed bat they have is the switch-hitting Vidal Brujan. Otherwise, it's John Birdie.
Yeah.
And then either Alcantara or Canario. Whoever the whoever that extra outfielder is.
Is the great Gage Workman not a lefty?
Well,
I could
he
have
is a
sworn
lefty,
that,
but
yeah,
I can't. He's not going to make the team, is he? I mean, I would guess they're going to work out a deal with Detroit, and they're going to send him to Iowa, and then he'll be up at some point. But
right.
And so on, Craig was doing a media day today for some reason. I guess it must have been Cactus League Media Day, and he was asked by one of the guys, "Are you looking for a right-handed hitting outfielder who can play all the spots?" I said, no, we shouldn't be looking for a left-handed hitting outfielder that could play all the, as your like last bench guy.
Yeah. Right.
It's like they got right-handers coming out of their butt. I mean, I know, well, Tucker's left-handed, Happ's a switch hitter.
PCA's lefty.
Yeah, PCA's lefty.
Yeah. Bush. Yeah. They're lefty heavy in the actual starting lineup.
That's right. Yeah, it's just the bench. Maybe that's why the bench is so right-handed, because they make up for it. But I don't know. Both catchers hit right-handed. Your third baseman's going to hit right-handed. Shortstop's right-handed. Your second baseman's right-handed. So it's first base and all three of the outfield spots, and because one's a switch hitter. Yeah, I guess they're fine. I guess I won't panic because I was. It was keeping me up at night.
The left-handed bench bat is the thing that's keeping standing between them and the World Series. Yeah.
Or our fatal flaw. So when I was thinking back to Justin Turner's time with the Dave and I talked about it because it had been rumored for 2 weeks. We talked about it last week, and about his very strange career where the Reds kind of gave up on him right away. The Mets played him but didn't ever play him regularly. They waived him. He went and he was immediately great with the Dodgers. Like his first year.
Yeah.
First year with the Dodgers. Hit 340 his first year with the Dodgers.
Yeah, at a 158 WRC. Yeah. They did the same thing with Max Muncy.
Man,
the Dodgers did the same thing with Max Muncy.
Yeah, the Dodgers
just found a guy.
And boy did Turner make not the Dodgers. Boy did he make the Mets pay for it in the 2015 playoffs, that first series, because he was basically Manny Ramirez against the Cubs in 08. 526, 550, 842 slash line in that series.
Well, he did to what Daniel Murphy did to the Cubs. He did to the
right. Exactly.
He did to the Mets. It's funny. The guy who gets credit for the Dodgers getting both Max Muncy and Justin Turner is a guy who left the Dodgers and just came back. Farhan Zaidi, the former GM of and that was like his. And then when the 2021 Giants were so good and they had platoons everywhere, they won 107 games.
Right.
I was like, see, that's Farhan's magic.
On that team. Yep.
He could find all these, he just finds the specialists that he could fit together. And then the complaint by the end of his time with the Giants was that's the only guys he seemed to want to find. We need some stars.
Right.
Yeah, it's the only ones who wanted to sign with him. He kept missing on
guys. They kept finishing second on guys.
Right.
Like Arson Judge.
Yeah.
Remember the John Heyman, Arson Judge to the Giants?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they signed Correa and then flunked his physical. Yeah. They got Willie Adames this year.
Yeah, there you go.
So they finally did it. Well, he was a nice player. Yeah. They paid him too much, but it's free agency. That's how you get a free agent. And you pay him too much. Otherwise, you don't get him. So either pay him a lot. Jed
that's
apparently needs that memo.
Yeah, that's how Jed believes it.
That you might actually have to pay somebody. The other thing I forgot about with Turner is the controversy around him when the Dodgers won the World Series in 2020. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, when he ran onto the field after he tested positive.
He got taken out of the decisive game because he tested positive for COVID. And then he ran on the field, and one of the Dodgers front office staffers got COVID at the at the celebration.
Jeez.
I don't remember if they died. I think they ended up in the hospital at least. Now you can't,
right?
Maybe Justin was the only guy with it, but it's a bad look when,
right?
But yeah. So, God, I hope that doesn't happen when the Cubs win the World Series this year. I hope he doesn't have bird flu and he runs out, and Todd gets bird flu and dies. That would be terrible. I'd forgotten about that.
Well, just think, too, that was game 6 of that series, and that was the one where, wasn't it the one where, like, Blake Snell pitched, like, 5 innings and was doing, like, amazing, and the whole controversy with him getting pulled out early?
Oh, yeah.
And Matt, just think about it this way. Who was it? Kevin Cash that was the Rays manager at the time? I think he still is. He's actually a hero, because if he had kept Blake Snell in that game and he kept on dominating, then you have this COVID outbreak with the Dodgers. The World Series has to be delayed for 2 weeks. You have to wait 2 weeks between, Game 6 and Game 7 being played in that series.
Thank God for Kevin Cash.
Exactly.
Save the World Series by blowing it for his own team.
It's just like the Cubs in '89 saving all those people from not falling off the bridge.
That is true. They saved a lot of lives.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that 89 play that comes up a bunch in the right field discussion.
I bet.
Our one lament about one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, that thinking about the 89, it's almost as bad as thinking about like the downfall of Bryant and Javi, and to some extent Rizzo.
There's also there's a good 10 minutes on Javi for no apparent reason in that.
Oh,
podcast.
really?
Yeah. I was listening to part of it again today, and I'm like, I will talk about Javi for 10 minutes if anybody brings him up. I'll do it right now. No, I won't do it right now. But,
I'm
his name came up, and I just started talking about him, and it just happens.
Yeah, that's great.
The funny thing was that they had this media day, and this is so stupid. Neither Craig or Jed could directly answer any questions about Turner because it's not official. Who cares?
Oh,
like, it's not a trade from another. He's not getting sent back to another team. If he flunks his physical, you're just not going to have him. You're going to have to talk about it then. Just talk about it. Jed and his weird, I can't talk about whatever. It's like, just talk about it. That's fine. So instead they're talking about, and Craig is better at it. Craig is just like answering the hypotheticals very clearly about Turner.
Yeah.
And Jed is like trying to, Jed actually did it, but he's being extra careful about it. Is like, what is the harm if you accidentally say his name? I don't get it. So there's this weird thing on Marquee, or on the Marquee's YouTube channel. Every day Craig does like a 10-minute like media availability press conference. It's not really a press conference. He's just wherever he's standing, cameras show up and they interview Craig. And they record it and they put it on the thing, which is kind of useful because I like listening to Craig. I love listening to Joe, and I couldn't give a shit about anything David Ross said for 4 years. And now I like listening to the manager again because he's a smart guy who actually says things. But these things are really weird because Bruce Levine makes them weird. He all of a sudden he like shows up, like he wanders into the camera thing and stays there. And if you start watching like 5 minutes into these, you think it's like a TV show. It's like, and Craig is like Bruce's sidekick because Bruce all of a sudden is doing all the talking, and he's not asking questions. He's just like talking, and it's like, okay, Grandpa,
like
to Craig. No, he's talking to Craig, but he's not. There's like no question. He's just like, he's just giving his thoughts.
Having a conversation,
basically telling Craig what's what, and it's like, Bruce, shut up. Please go away, Grandpa.
I gotta see this. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, the one from yesterday is by far the best one. He literally he just takes over. It's like it may have been. They might as well just start asking Bruce the questions. And Craig kind of looks at him at first, like, "What are you doing?" And then he's like, "I don't care. Just talk. I don't have to do it then."
Yeah.
I think I just found the one clip of Craig Counsell without Bruce Levine in the background right now. I got Mark.
No, he'll show up. Bruce will show up.
Yeah.
Give him about 2 minutes. He's talking. Bruce asks almost all the questions.
That's true.
So you hear him a lot. But this was the day before the Turner signing, and Craig was talking about how they don't have any depth at first base. Like in the minors, they didn't have anybody. Yeah. John Birdie was like the only other guy on the roster who could play first.
A couple days ago, wasn't there chatter about like Alexander Canario potentially getting some reps at first? Yeah,
Big Al takes some so that then he could sit on the bench and not play first instead of just not playing the outfield.
Yeah, right.
Sitting on his first base glove, trying to break it in. It's like, you're never going to need that. What?
No.
You're going to get a hemorrhoid, and you're never going to need that glove, Al. Just put it away. So, but Craig kept talking about this one guy, and I didn't know who he was. He was talking about Johnny Long, and he must have mentioned Johnny Long like 5 times. So I Googled Johnny Long. There is no Johnny Long, but there is a Jonathan Long.
Jonathan Long, correct.
Jonathan Long, who is the Cubs supposedly their 30th best prospect. And he made it all the way to he started at Myrtle Beach last year and wasn't very good, and then got promoted to Tennessee and was really good.
Okay.
And so I got a good look at little Johnny Long. He kind of looks like, in the face looks like Connor Joe, but he's going to turn into Josh Naylor body wise pretty soon.
Oh, really?
Okay. He's like 5'10", he's listed at 5'11", 210, which is what, 5'10", 230. And but he had a nice, he hit well when he got to Tennessee. 340, 455, 528 in 46 games. He went to Long Beach State. He was a very good player there, obviously. Nice. But it's funny. I'm like, who is he talking about? Is Craig having an aneurysm? Who is Johnny Long?
Why was Craig talking about him?
Because it's like, apparently if Michael Bush had gotten hit by a bus, Johnny Long would have been playing first base for the Cubs until they went out and found somebody. This was like Craig's cry for help.
Oh,
we're going to be playing Johnny Long at first base if you don't get me at first base, but just in case.
Yeah.
We got one
just
guy.
Make it clear. Yeah. Oh, wow. All right.
Now you stick Justin Turner right in between them. On MLB Network, because I have it on now in the background a lot. They roll they have this, like, their scroll when they don't have breaking news is like key additions for each team. And the Marlins one is so sad. It's one guy, Matt Mervis.
Matt Mervis. Well, little did you know that Matt Mervis was the only safety net between the Cubs first base.
I didn't know that's why
Jonathan.
Well, he was. It's funny. Somebody, it might have been you. I was like, well, Mervis is still on the 40 man. They're like, no, he's not. I'm like, yes, he is. And we looked it up. It's like, well, that's why they didn't have anybody else.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well, it's a good thing that's saving room for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. That's why they're clearing the decks for Vlad Jr.
Yep.
We don't need any depth there.
Well, they're going to put Vlad at third base. I mean, they'd have to.
The Red Sox should get him and play him at third too. They're going to play him and Devers and Bregman all at third at the same time. That was quite a thing. So on Monday morning, bright and early, they had a press conference where they welcomed Bregman. He talked about how excited he was to be there, and then the Boston media runs over to Rafael Devers and says, "So they got Bregman now, and he won the Gold Glove last year. So are you willing to move off third base?" And he just goes, "No."
Yeah.
That was it. He just said no. And they're like, okay.
Old Craig Counsell would figure that out.
But the best part then was, so they talked to Alex Cora. Devers is in the second year of a 10-year extension. It pays him $31 million a year. And they're like, well, when Chaim Bloom signed him to that thing, he promised him he'd play third base. And Alex like, is Chaim still here? I was like, he's still here. He's in St. Louis, isn't he? Well, I don't think we have to honor that. It's like, oh, shit.
Right. Exactly.
Stuff's about to get real in Boston pretty quick.
All right. Well, that'll be fun to watch.
And they just gave me an excuse in the newsletter on today, I think. Had to be today. Well, this is Tuesday. I say today for a podcast that people might listen to.
Right.
Their first baseman, Tristan Casas, might end up DHing, or Devers might end up DHing or whatever. And it just reminded me of the weird Sunday Night Baseball things that happened to Tristan last year. So on Mother's Day.
Oh yeah, yes.
He was mic'd up, and Carl Ravitch is like, "Well, would you like to send out special wishes to your mother?" And he's like, "Well, she died." Like, oh,
yeah.
And you think, okay, that's as awkward. It's not going to get more awkward than that. Well, it just happens to be the Red Sox. They're also playing on Father's Day, and he's injured, so they put the mic on him, and he wouldn't shut up. Remember, he talked for like 10 minutes.
Yep.
And he started telling a story about how when he was 6, he was struck out or something. He's sitting on the bench crying, and he didn't want to go back in the game. And his dad came over to him and so would give him a little tough love, and had to literally grab him and throw him onto the field. And he did. And one of the other parents called Child Protective Services, and his dad got arrested at the Little League game. And Tristan thought it was like the cutest story ever. And it's like,
that was so awkward.
Somebody turn the mic. Just somebody in the truck needs to pretend there's technical difficulties and turn Tristan's microphone off.
From now on, no more questions to Tristan Casas about his parents anymore.
Well, you couldn't really you couldn't. He told the story, so you didn't know where it was going.
Yeah, right. They couldn't head it off because it started like, oh, here's a cute story about when I was 6.
Yes.
And ends up with dad in jail for hitting him, for literally throwing him.
Yes.
And then it gave me an excuse. So Netflix, the guys who did Last Chance U, did you ever see that? It was like the community college football documentary. It was really good. They did one basketball season one too. Well, they followed the Red Sox last year, and so we need another documentary on the Red Sox. We're getting one, but it's at least not on the 2004 Red Sox. At least this one's on the 2020. It followed them all season, and they on MLB Network they played the first clip that Netflix released, and I watched it. I'm like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. So I found it to put it on the newsletter. It's Casas. He's mic'd up live during a game. He strikes out at the bottom of an inning, and then you just hear him like he walks to go start taking, warm up at first base for the next inning. And he's just like berating himself like over and over and over again. And you're like, wow, Jesus, buddy. He's like, what the fuck are you swinging at? You fucking suck. You're the worst. He's going on and on. And I'm like, why is this the clip? I mean, it's fine to be in the thing, but this is really, he's a fucking weirdo. So
he is a weirdo. I think his dad had something to do with it.
Very well could have been. Maybe it was just his dad yelling at him, and it sounds just like him, so we thought it was him. It was just his dad from the first row. God. You fucking suck. You're the worst. Why would you swing at that? So Michael Busch doesn't do that.
No, he's calm. He's
not swearing at himself.
The only time you ever hear him yelling is when he's like on the glass of the Blackhawks game with PCA.
Is that right?
That's right.
Because he was there for the Winter Classic, and I think one other game maybe. Yeah.
Did you guys see Pete's hair?
Yes, with the stars.
He dyed stars into his hair.
That's great.
He's quite a guy. He was trying to explain that his first spring training number was 91, so he thinks it's a sign that he's supposed to be the Dennis Rodman of the Cubs. So that's why he's saying, I think he'd be doing this anyway.
Why Dennis? Why not Doug Gilmour? Didn't Doug Gilmour wear 91?
He might not know. He might not know Doug. How about Tommy Harris?
There you go.
There's someone he'll know.
He can throw out his back for the World Series.
If only he wasn't hurt for the Super Bowl.
It almost worked. Almost worked. The Bears literally, they got him because he had the bad back. That was why he dropped. Yep. And the Bears knew it. They're like, we just got to get 5 years out of him. If his back falls out, who cares? And it was like 2 months short of them winning a Super Bowl. Him and Mike Brown had somehow the same deal with Brown. He kept getting hurt at Nebraska. And they got him, and they almost made it all the way, and they did. Anyway. One thing I've been enjoying, Ken Rosenthal does this all the time, and now Little Buster Olney has decided to jump in.
Yep.
Writing long columns where they basically go, why is Tom Ricketts such a cheap asshole? It's just, I love it. I just keep it up. I can't get enough of it. He
doesn't have any shame. What does he care?
The Rosenthal one was particularly damning in that he actually broke out some charts that showed that the Cubs have the 14th highest payroll in baseball, even though they have the third most revenue. Right. And he's basically like, you claim you want to break, all you're trying to do is break even. Be pretty damn hard to not break even with the revenue you're pulling in based on the salaries we know you're paying out. So what's the deal, bub?
They're incompetent.
Well, they're. I mean, they got Crane running the business. They're in good hands, right? That guy, he seems like a whiz.
Yeah. Guy's spending $500 million over budget on the Wrigley renovations.
We're still paying down the having to take the fishnet down from the crumbling stadium.
Oh God,
that wasn't.
Oh my God,
that wasn't cheap.
Empower. Claire is practicing her breathing for her upcoming yoga retreat in Bali. Has she ever done yoga before? No. But Claire worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Join our 19 million customers today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risks. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisor Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Om Namaste.
Can you feel it in the air? That sudden shift of mood? It's the perfect time to shed the winter blues and experience the revitalizing qualities of driving a Lincoln. It starts with the Lincoln Spring Sales Event. So step outside and visit your local Lincoln retailer or Lincoln.com for some seriously mood-enhancing offers on current and past Lincoln models. Your transformation awaits. Learn more at Lincoln.com.
He just had to yell at Luke.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him. He's one of the other dog parents is gonna call Child Protective Services.
Exactly. There you go.
Did you throw Luke?
Luke, he's all right. What were you barking at? No,
Hey,
he's not leaving. He's not that upset. He's not actually leaving the basement.
Okay. He just saved your life from something, and you don't even know what.
It could be. Or Timmy. Or we have a neighbor named Timmy, and they have a well for some reason. I don't know why. Timmy falls in it all the time. Luke is always letting us know Timmy has fallen in the well again. I was like, could you put a cover on the well?
Yeah, like by now you'd think they'd learn.
Or maybe Timmy needs glasses. Why does he keep falling in the well? Yeah, I just like the fact that I know that the Chicago media, I think too much of the media is friendly. Half the beat is either MLB.com or Marquee. So they're not asking, asking real tough questions. But it is nice that when somebody's like, all right, just your lame ass excuses here don't actually add up to anything. So what's the real deal here, bub? And Rosenthal seemed offended by the offer they made to Bregman. That seemed to really set him off.
4 for 120. Was that what it was?
4 for 115, I believe it was.
What's even worse is that the excuse for why they didn't defer, the whole.
Yeah, we don't want to do deferred money. It's like what?
Yeah,
why?
That has never worked out for the Cubs, especially not in 2016 with two guys having deferred money.
It's so frustrating.
Well, it's them using. They're going to use that Jason Hayward contract as an excuse for everything forever. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, we had to defer the money. The only deferred money is they took his $20 million signing bonus. They put it at the end, and they paid it to him $5 million a year for 4 years after his contract ran out. That actually saved them money.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they acting like it's so onerous to have this? And the same thing with the John Lester was $2 million a year for 5 years.
Right.
That's it. And then we see that Theo was basically the guy that Breslow was going to figure out how to structure the Bregman deal.
Yeah. Oh, really? Just okay.
He kept showing stuff to Theo, and Theo's like, "No, don't do this, do this, don't do this, do this." And I guess I didn't see. I don't listen to that podcast because I'm still mad that they had a Athletic Cubs podcast for 4 years while I was working there, and it had 3 people on it. We had 3 people write about the Cubs, and I wasn't one of the guys in the podcast. But Sahadev and Mooney have their own podcast now, and Sahadev finally said the thing out loud that I haven't heard, which is basically Theo left because the Ricketts. He got tired of having to beg the Ricketts for money and getting said no to a lot, and he's like, you know what, you can't run the team this way if you actually want to win anything. So I'm just going to leave.
Right.
And so he's back in Boston now, and he got a sweetheart deal. He got an ownership stake, and I don't think he had to put hardly anything in. And so now he's the guy helping them figure out how to actually get players, while the Cubs are trying to figure out ways to make a competitive bid but not win it.
Right.
We want it to look good, but we don't actually want to have to pay it.
If they were ready to pay Bregman 4 and 115, then that's not even close. That's not And why not use that money for something else?
Yeah.
And they still didn't use the money.
Well, they just gave Justin Turner $6 million.
Yeah. That's
only 113 left.
Yeah.
No, hardly anything left. Their budget's basically broke.
Which I'm sure Tom Ricketts will love to have to pay if Justin Turner goes the way of Trey Mancini or Eric Hosmer, because that's like higher than any of the cheap little 1-year deals that they've done recently between Hosmer and Barnhart.
Yeah. Just be glad it wasn't.
How was it? Deal. I was going to say, how was it not 2 years? Justin needs to fire his agent. Jed gives everybody 2 years.
Exactly.
We'll probably find out that it actually is. Well,
just
the
to
second
say
year
for just to
second
save
year is $10 million
on competitive balance.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly why they did it with Mancini and Barnhart to keep the AAV down. Well, it wouldn't have been that high for either one of those clowns anyway.
Right.
You didn't need to tack on a second year. It's like it's amazing. I'm not so sure that I don't know that I would have wanted, if I were them, I wouldn't have even offered Bregman the contract they offered him. Like, why wasn't there an opt-out after year one? They didn't have one till year 2.
Yeah. Right. I heard talk that they wanted a 2-year contract out of it, basically.
The only reason I could think they wanted 2 years is because they were going to sign Bregman and they were going to trade Nico. Right. And so they wanted more certainty. They didn't want to next year you need a third baseman and a second baseman.
Right.
But that's another why would you possibly have needed to do that? Why couldn't you God forbid, you have to have both.
Yeah.
But I'm positive, especially given what happened when he, with the possibly having to change positions. Although apparently Bregman got told right before he signed the deal that he'd play third base. They were like, "Don't worry, he'll play third," which is what's causing all the problems in Boston.
Right.
Really?
I would almost bet that when they came to that agreement with they had the parameters, that they went to the Cubs and said, "If you'll match this, he'll come to the Cubs." And the Cubs were like, "Oh, we can't do that."
Of course.
Because
the Red Sox were at least in a little bit of a unique position, because wasn't it the night, or that same night, earlier that night, when Pivetta had signed with the Padres? So, the Red Sox were able to get a qualifying offer draft pick from the Padres for that, and the Cubs didn't have anyone leave this past offseason who was offered a qualifying offer and rejected it. I'm not making excuses for them not signing him, but I think maybe the Red Sox could have afforded to up their offer more with, the draft capital coming back to them that they had.
It seems like with the Crochet trade and other stuff they've done, the Red Sox are back in. We have to outdo the Yankee mode, which is the only way they can ever win. They have to do that.
Right.
So I doubt I think that was probably a nice bonus for them. I have a feeling they were all in regardless. The Cubs are the team that would whinge over the draft picks. Oh no, we can't possibly. We might lose the second and the fifth. Oh. It's like,
I think you're right, and that's a crazy bad reason. That makes it even more frustrating.
I'm just saying, because I think the Red Sox kind of were a little bit in the same boat as the Cubs before this past off season, where they kind of had the reputation of being a cheat team after everything that happened with the Mookie trade and not re-signing, any of the core from their 2018 World Series team, other than Devers, really. Just they had somewhat of a reputation, because I think them signing Bregman, other than the Devers extension, was the first big move they had made since trading away Mookie to the Dodgers.
I think Trevor Story.
Trevor Story too. Although,
that's another guy. So that's a guy he ended up he was a pillow. This is longer though, but he ended up had to play second because they still had Bogarts, and so he came in. They immediately played him out of position. He finally gets moved back to shortstop last year, and then the second game he falls down and destroys his shoulder.
He's been
was
there
it last
for
year?
3 years now, right? Well, he's been there for 3 years. I thought he got hurt 2 of the years.
Yeah, he's missed at least 100 games every year.
Right.
But last year was they cleared I guess it was 2 years ago with Bogarts.
Yeah.
It was Dansby's one. So 2 years ago,
right?
They fulfilled their plan. They opened shortstop for Trevor. Okay, you can go back to your normal position. Everything will be fine. Immediately hurt, and like bad hurt. Like,
you got
like we got to sew your shoulder back together. You're going to miss the rest of the year.
You got a lot of games with the great Romy Gonzalez playing there because of that.
Well, now they have. They could go to Cedane Rafaela, right? Who's like a really good shortstop and a really good center fielder and can't hit. There was
Everybody's got bunch problems. Everybody's got bunch problems.
Not the Mets. They replaced Jose Iglesias, who had 340 for him last year, with Nick Madrigal. They're all good to go. Yeah, somebody on Blue Sky sent me the headline from one of the New York things that had two short puns in it. It's like, oh, they're already ready to roll.
Nice.
Maybe just one. Nick Madrigal has big shoes to fill after last year's utility man hit a high note. They're not really. Are they really? Is that what Nick is supposed to do?
How do they sign Soto and then you wind up with Madrigal on the bench?
Is he actually? Wait. Okay, on the bench, fine. I was gonna say if he's actually their starting second baseman, that's trouble for them.
But his contract he has a split contract that pays him a healthy amount if he's on the big league roster and pays him almost nothing if he's in AAA. I have a feeling he's going to want to spend a fair amount of time in Syracuse. So
yeah,
that's nice this time of year. Yeah,
we don't have to worry about him anymore, which is nice. So I heard one of my friends texted me the other day. He's like, Cap is talking about the Cubs trading for Nolan Arenado.
Oh, good.
And I was like, I'm not going to turn on. So I didn't. But then I was intrigued. So I went to I pulled up the segment on YouTube so I could flip through it. And it was a roller coaster, right? Like it's him and Jonathan Hood. And Cap has this big idea. He's like, this is the deal. This move they have to make. This is, you missed out on Bregman. This is the deal you got to make. And so he's talking about Arenado and what, great defensive third baseman. He's still got power. You can put him in there. You could ease in Matt Shaw. You can go. And then Hood starts reading the contract details left for Arenado. And it's like $23 million this year. And then it goes down the last 2 years. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it goes way down over the next couple of years, I want to say.
But he has, there are 20 years worth of deferrals in it.
Oof.
The total $80 million. It's like a bunch of $6 million years and a bunch of $2 million years.
Okay.
And you can just see Cap's face like, whoa, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, they can't be. Does the team that finishes the contract? You
would work that out with the Cardinals. Like, you could basically say, we're not doing the fucking deferrals. They had him traded to the Astros and then he turned it down. There was no way the Astros were going to take the deferrals. So I guarantee you they had agreed. And it cracks me up. The Rockies are paying $5 million of his salary this year.
Yeah.
And then the Cardinals were going to eat 14 of it this year. So the Astros were going to save $20 million off of the total, and not pay hardly anything this year. Actually, maybe the 14 million was for the length of it, but there was a sizable discount.
Here's what you do: is you go to the Rockies and you ask them to pay that deferred money. Then you're in the
clear. Going to pay all of it.
Exactly.
They'll just say sure. Why not? So Cap I'd never heard this rumor because I don't think it was true. He claims the Cubs and Rockies had a trade done at one point that would have sent Chris Bryant to the Rockies for Arenado.
Oh, I don't remember.
I remember hearing a little rumbling about.
I remember something about Arenado to the Cubs. But
when apparently that was a sweetheart deal that the Cardinals got when they got Arenado. The Rockies offered that to the Cubs first because that's where Arenado wanted to go. Yeah, and Judd said no because that was when Bryant was still there, but it was the end. We knew that all those guys were going to leave.
21. Yeah.
And maybe that's I don't know if maybe Cap was conflating two things. He made it sound like it was a standalone trade sometime before that.
Arenado.
And then I think it was because, and maybe he thinks of it because the Rockies ended up signing Bryant, that they were hot to trot for him. I don't know. It could be true. I don't. I don't remember that at all, but So I wrote this whole long thing about would it even make any sense for the Cubs to do it, given Arenado's decline?
Yeah.
You get his 34, 35, and 36 year things. His first year with the Cardinals, he wasn't great. His second year, he was great. He had a really good year.
Yeah.
He won the Gold Glove both those years. He won 11 in a row. His first 11 seasons, he won a Gold Glove. He hasn't won it the last 2 years, but his defensive metrics are still really good. Like he's clearly, he's one of he declined all the way from best third baseman to one of the best third basemen.
Right. And there's been Machado came over. I guess Machado's been here for a little while in the National League, but I feel like there's
Matt Chapman.
That's it. Yes, yeah.
I will admit, so 2 years ago, Loxus was going on and on. The Cubs need to get Matt Chapman to fix third, and I'm like, is he that good? He was the guy who he was the ultimate. His batted ball data looks like he crushes the ball, but his results aren't great.
Yep.
And then I had heard somebody I don't think his defense is as good as it used to be. And so he ends up on the Giants last year, and the Giants are my late night baseball team. That's who I watch.
Mm-hmm.
He's amazing at third. It's just everything. The ball is hit anywhere near him, you just assume it's an out. And one of those guys, and Arenado was like this too, where every throw, I marvel at Dansby because he doesn't throw as hard as he has to every time, but he always gets. It's like he has a game in his head. I'm going to get everybody up by one step, no matter what.
Yep.
That is not Matt Chapman. Matt Chapman is, I'm going to throw the ball 140 miles an hour, but it's going to be perfect every time. Like the first baseman, the glove never moves. It's amazing. So there's a reason Matt Chapman's winning Gold Gloves now, even though Arenado is still good.
Well, do you remember, he's your favorite player, but they used to say about Sean Dunston, if he ever took anything off the ball, then it would he had no idea where it was going.
Well, that's what Sean would tell people. I had a roommate in college who was a pain in the ass to play catch with. Because he thought he had to throw the ball as hard as he could every time because he couldn't throw it straight otherwise. And it's like, this sucks playing catch with you. It's like,
Sorry,
you do not need to throw the ball 95 miles an hour every time. It didn't matter how far away from me he was either. He was going to throw it that hard.
Yeah.
Literally, we had a second baseman who would throw the ball as hard as he could to first, no matter where he was. Like a ground ball would take him to his left, and then he's 6 feet from the first baseman. And the first baseman is just covering himself up. He's not even trying to catch it.
I remember when I was a kid, there was a guy on one of my little league teams that he would do that, but his throws would always sink too, so I could never get it in the webbing of the glove. I would always have to get it right in the palm of the glove. And it would be the hardest throw ever, but a sinking throw.
Oh. Yeah. On a first baseman's glove too?
No, I was an outfielder.
Oh.
But
were you done with your story, Andy? Sorry.
My story about should the Cubs get Nolan Arenado?
I thought it was something else. Yeah.
Because that's where we were. We were winding our way from there.
Right.
For sure.
This was last 2 years with the Cardinals. 266, 315, 459 2 years ago. But last year, 272, 325, 394.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty pedestrian for a guy you're going to pay 20-some million.
Barely above average.
So I think it's probably not worth it. Then there's the whole idea that the Cardinals wouldn't trade him to the Cubs anyway. Because
that's kind of silly.
And I've never understood that. I understand not trading a star to your rival, like a guy who's going to put them over the hump.
Yeah, right.
But if you think you can, and maybe they wouldn't do this because this is a salary dump. That's why I joke Cubs should just send him Cody Poteet. That's like Cody's lot in life is to just be the guy that gets traded for the contract. Well, we got Cody Poteet. If you can have him, and then we'll take the whole deal. So maybe the Cardinals would be reluctant because they don't expect to get adequate value back. They're not going to get a really good prospect and be like, you know what, this guy's going to turn out to be good and it's going to be worth it. They know they're going to take crap just to get rid of the money. But at the same time, they got to be getting kind of desperate because they've tried to trade him. They tried to trade him to the Red Sox. They tried to trade him to the Yankees. They traded him to the Astros, and he said he didn't want to go there.
Right.
He's doing the Ryan Dempster thing where he's trying to hold out to get traded to the Dodgers, which I don't think is going to happen. Yeah. But he almost certainly would say yes if they trade him to the Cubs. So I can't imagine the Cardinals really would be like, we can't do it. We can't, it would offend our sensibilities if we traded him to the Cubs.
Well, here's one element of this that may change things and I think he's already been brought up on this podcast one time or another, but their new GM or president of baseball operations is Chaim Bloom now, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he did a couple like intra-divisional moves in the AL East when he was with the Red Sox at that point. So, I mean, it could be different circumstances here, but it's someone who's not afraid to do that.
And he was with the Rays before he was with the Red Sox, right?
Right.
And the Rays, that's kind of like the Rays just have to deal with anybody.
Right.
Yeah,
that's like that's just they can't be picky. They're cobbling together. They're constantly cobbling their team together. They do a very, very good job of it. But they can't be like, well, no, we can't trade him to that guy. They're like, if we can get a good player, we're going to get him. We don't care where he comes from or who we're trading to get him.
Well, it's also kind of it's kind of a stupid way to think about trading, because the idea is that you're still like you're not just trading a guy to trade him, unless you're the Red Sox bets, but like you're getting something back for him.
Yeah, you should be confident enough,
right?
That you're going to make a trade to help your team. It doesn't matter who.
Right.
Except that's why I was thinking in this case, they're really not, right? Like this time, they're just like trying to get rid of the money.
Right.
So they may be like, can we just dump him somewhere else? Like, we're going to give him the Cubs and then we're going to have to, although if you're the Cubs, if all of a sudden they were like really interested in trading him to you, wouldn't you be a little leery of it then? Well, they're like, hey, who you can have him for nothing. Like, okay, what is he that useless now? They're trying to foist him on us.
I think that all of with the information available, it's really hard to pull a fast one.
Yeah. Well, that's the Cubs.
I mean,
Jed will probably look at that move offered to him and say, hey, I remember making the deal with the Yankees just like that for Cody Bellinger. Yeah, you guys are pretty smart. I'll do that.
The Carter's sitting in his office eating paste.
Right.
What do you think, Carter? I like it. What was it?
Oh my God. I hate that I know what Carter Hawkins' voice sounds like. It was so much better when Theo was here and Jed barely ever talked. But
Carter loves to talk. You can't shut him up. It's
exactly.
Like, it's like, Carter, nobody really wants to hear what you say. They're just being polite. At least when Jed was the deputy, he was smart enough not to talk.
Right.
You never shut up. That's the thing, right? Like if they really do get rid of Jed after this season, say it goes terribly wrong, I think Jed, they're like, well, there's a lot of pressure on him. I think his bar is pretty low. I think if the Cubs get to the playoffs, he's golden. He gets the extension, because if you're Ricketts, you got to love Jed, right? He lives within the budget. He doesn't he doesn't cause any problems. He doesn't do whatever. I think the only way he gets, if they bomb, then he's the fall guy, and he's the guy they publicly kick out. But if they do get rid of him, will they actually go look for somebody, or they're not going to give the job to Carter, are they?
So first of all, I can't believe that Judd still has a job. Like, that's nuts to me.
If performance was the thing, he wouldn't be back this year.
Correct.
Right. But yeah, there's like part of me hopes, and maybe I'm being way too optimistic. Part of me hopes that what eventually happens is the pushback or the blowback from the fans is just so bad that he's forced to go out and try to get like make another Theo move.
I don't think it works like that when Wrigley is always as full as it is. I think that's really the only thing that Ricketts cares about, honestly.
But I can hope.
You could hope. We'll see. Quick side note, in relation to Jed and Ricketts, probably my favorite thing that came from the fallout of Bregman signing with the Red Sox was the next day when Jed spoke with the media, and he was thanking Tom Ricketts for allowing him to go to the price that they did.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, you didn't get the guy. Thank you for that.
He didn't just thank Tom. He thanked Laura and Todd.
Todd too.
I was like, holy shit! He's all the way down to Todd now. I bet you Todd is just intimately involved in this.
God.
Yeah, I had a hard time. I completely misread at first. I thought Jed seemed irritated because he'd gotten close and Bregman hadn't done it, because we really hadn't sorted out yet. The initial Bob Nightingale, of course, this is our problem when he basically Bob Nightingale. Bob Nightingale made it sound like Bregman chose between either 3 years and 120 and the possibility of having to change positions over 4 years, 120, and playing third. So in other words, the same amount of money except for one more year. And so I was thinking, well, maybe Jed actually thought he was close. Well, now it's pretty clear he was pissed because he was never given enough money to actually, like, he knows he could have got him, and he couldn't get him because they wouldn't pony up. And it was kind of I wondered how much of it was the passive aggressive. I'd really like to thank the Ricketts for getting out of their comfort zone and really pushing this to the end in their feudal, still not giving me enough.
If
we didn't have the most years and we didn't have the most money, but otherwise we made a great offer.
If you're right about that, then I take back every bad thing I ever said about Judd Hoyer. I
don't know. The Jed is savvy enough.
He still deserves it.
Like the people who cover the Cubs, they like Jed. They don't think he's doing a particularly. It's not like they're like, oh, he's doing a great job. They're going to defend him. Personally, they like him. They think that he was the guy they could talk to when Theo couldn't talk to him, and all the other stuff. Like he's a personable guy. He's a pretty normal guy for, even with the weird laugh. But I just don't know that he's got it in him to really be, because that would be me. I would have been like, oh, I'd really like to thank Tom for giving us almost enough fucking money so we could sign this guy. But God forbid we actually get enough to make a competitive offer. So I don't know. I like to think that part of Jed's motivation was, well, I can frame this in a way so people can realize that I offered as much as I was allowed, and we couldn't do it. Don't act like old Jed didn't think Bregman was worth more money. I wasn't allowed to offer it. As the way I took that.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I said, if that's actually true, and Jed does have balls like that to do that, that'd be great. I think he was being. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't be surprised if he was just being earnest. Like, yes, this is like thank them.
Yeah,
it'd be awesome.
Well, he even went into the thing like, oh, they did it. He is almost like he was trying to explain how they accidentally went over the luxury tax last year. It's like, well, we went over our budget last year when Cody was still around and we were able to sign him. It's like that shouldn't be your fucking budget, man. Like,
yeah.
To me, the weirdest thing they do is that they spend as much as they do and then won't push it to actually win with it. Like, okay, why are you spending $230 million if a player falls in your lap that can help you win, you won't go to 260? Why aren't you just spending $140 million then? Mm-hmm. Why aren't you that's what the Cardinals are going to spend this year. The Cardinals are in this weird holding pattern where they're the only team. They haven't signed a major league free agent this year. They're the only team that hasn't signed one. Well, they're not adding at all. And it's because Mozeliak supposedly is like, I'm just setting things up for when Heim takes over next year. It's like, well, then you should leave now.
Yeah.
Right. Why are you just going to wait a whole year?
And I thought it was because their TV revenue.
That's a huge part of it. Yeah. But they also, they haven't torn down. Like, they still have Sonny Gray and they still have Arenado. Well, and they still, it's like, it's like you Wilson, guys could get, if you really want to clear the books for Heim, then you move these guys and then I'm fine with them keeping their mediocre veterans around.
Sonny Gray doesn't want to go anywhere. I mean, I was all for Sonny Gray would be awesome for the Cubs to go get, but he doesn't want to go anywhere, and he's got $35 million on the books for next year. And Arenado is just untradeable. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's untradeable under their current what they're asking for right now. Like, if they get to the point where they're willing to eat more money, he will get traded.
He's still
a useful player. But nobody, I wouldn't, if I were the Cubs, I wouldn't want to pay him $70 million for 3 years.
No. Right.
I'd pay him 40.
I would.
45. Maybe. I don't know. Didn't I just decide his best days are all behind him?
Yeah. It's if you could get him for 1 year and the next 2 years wouldn't matter, so you could let him go. You could release him. Great.
Yeah.
Somehow, if you make that $70 million a 1 year stopgap, that'd be awesome.
It was funny that so it was just timing. It was the news broke, and then the reporters were in the clubhouse talking to Matt Shaw, and they were talking about him playing third base. Like, I really want to thank the Cubs for giving me this opportunity and showing this confidence in me. It's like, the confidence in you. They literally, until 20 minutes ago, they were trying to sign a guy to play your position. That's how confident they are in you, Matt. But I think he probably knows that they were They were just going to open door number 2 for him. He was going to play second base. He wasn't going to play third base if they got Bregman.
Are we 100% certain on him that they're not going to do to him what they did to Chris Bryant in 2015 with holding him down for the service time manipulation? It's just one thing I thought about.
Well, they made it harder to do that. And if you think he could, actually, it's funny though. The Japanese guys screw this up, right? So if Roki Sasaki wasn't here, you would think Shaw might have a decent chance to win Rookie of the Year, and then the Cubs would get an extra pick for that if he's on the roster the whole year. But with the Dodgers always bringing in these guys from Japan, who are, although Roki is more of a traditional rookie age than typical, but last year with Yamamoto, you're not going to win a Rookie of the Year, so what the hell? We might as well, keep him down there for 2 weeks. I don't know. I guess they'd have to play Turner at third base in Japan.
But it's top 3. Right? You have to because the Pirates did that with Skeens, and he wound up winning Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, pitching is a little different though. You probably want a little more time with guys in the minors there, but I don't know. Yeah. It seems so obvious when Shaw is your best third base option to have him up.
Yeah, but if you bring him up right away, don't you get a draft pick? If you
and also I think as good as he might be, there's a big difference between trying to get an extra year of Chris Bryant and trying to get an extra year of Matt Shaw.
Right.
The Cubs assumed, and of course, the beginning of his Cubs career, he was every bit as good. He was better actually than what they thought he was going to be.
Right.
So they're well, shit. Why wouldn't we want 7 years of this? Why would we only want 6? So that made sense. Yeah. With Shaw, I can't imagine the Cubs are that hung up on it. Basically, and go try to tell Craig.
Yeah.
You can just go a couple of weeks without him. That'll be fine, right? How do you like Vidal? Huh? He looks pretty good. I thought I got rid of this Brewer shit when I moved down here, but I guess not.
Right.
Actually, the Brewers would have him up. They didn't wait with Jackson Churio. They just
that's
true. Right. Well, they signed Churio. They signed Churio to one of those first year.
That was in spring training, right? That was before the season.
Buying out the arbitration years.
Yeah. Well, no, they bought out everything.
Yeah, he signed for
an 8-year contract.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is he really that good? He's really good.
Sadly, he is probably that good.
He is really that good, yeah. Big news.
I dropped him in our fantasy league when I had him at the 25th rounder. Nobody else cares except for Andy. Andy doesn't care.
He ain't a 25th rounder this year.
Nah, it's 23rd. Somebody picked him up. So he's 23rd rounder.
Oh, you mean you dropped him and How come I didn't pick him up? When did you drop him? Last year. Last year?
2 years ago. That doesn't matter. We should stop.
I did a very bad. No, let's talk about our fantasy league for a while. Everybody loves it. Big news from Cub Camp today is that they have named a opening day starter. It is, of course, Cody Poteet. Oh wait, no, he's going to open the Cactus League on Thursday. Right. But actually, the opening day in Japan is going to be. This is a shocker. Hold on to your butts. They're going to start Shota Imanaga. And Craig laughed again, like, hey, he's one of our best pitchers, so he earned it. But also, we kind of had to do it.
Right.
We're playing. One of our best players is playing in his home country on opening day. Right. We'd be kind of jerks to do this. Right. So he's going to do it.
He did, however, say that Seiya Suzuki is going to sit for both games.
That's right. As penance for giving me shit about DH, and I'm just going to sit.
Exactly.
Screw you, Seiya. You don't want a DH? Fine. You don't have to DH.
Right.
Enjoy. They're not even taking him to Japan. He's staying behind. Get extra at bats. He'll pull his oblique while we're gone.
We need you at spring training games. Trying with the Cactus League, damn it.
Yeah, they have not announced game 2 yet. I would guess that I would guess Colin Ray, right?
It's got to be
big free agent signing, Colin Ray,
Matthew Boyd, maybe. Yeah,
I'd love to see him overthink it, we can't go with Steele because that's back-to-back lefties.
Yeah, right.
Sure, don't pitch your 2 best pitchers when you're there for whatever you do. God forbid, don't do that.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
The
too,
Dodgers.
I was going to say the Dodgers may not go there. Well, they'll probably start Roki for one of them. Might not have Yamamoto, right?
Why?
Isn't he hurt?
No, I don't think so. Dave Roberts said he expected both of his Japanese pitchers to pitch. He didn't.
Okay.
He said, I don't know they'll both start, but he said he thought both of them would pitch in Japan. In other words, Roki will probably come out of the pen at some point. Shohei's not ready.
Shohei, that's who I was thinking of. Okay.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Yes, he is not ready.
Yeah, right. He won't be ready for
He will merely be hitting 500-foot home runs instead.
Yeah, exactly.
Just gave me a damn heart attack, Praz.
399-foot flyouts that PCA robs of home runs.
I will say,
like he did at
say
Dodger
this.
Stadium. Yeah.
I know you were just kind of kidding about it, but it does make total sense to start two lefties against the Dodgers, no?
Yeah.
With Shohei and Freeman. Mookie's a right-hander, right?
Yeah. Mookie's righty. Teoscar Hernandez righty. Will Smith is lefty. So, yeah.
Is he? All right. So.
I mean, I guess I could see it if in the regular season. Although they're so. I mean, how many lefties do they could have 4 lefties in their rotation at different times. With Shota, right. Steele, Boyd, and Wicks.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Shoot.
So it's probably unavoidable that you're at some point you're gonna have back-to-back lefties. So you might as well just have Shota and Steele be 1-2 all year because they're your 2 best pitchers. Get the most starts out of them.
Yeah.
But I could see some galaxy brain like, okay, we should put a righty in between them.
Right.
But it's just you're gonna have you're lousy with lefties anyway. Although God knows how many innings he'll get out of Boyd.
Right, exactly. He'll just be there for April and May, and then he'll be this year's Ben Brown.
It's pretty awesome that the Dodgers just sign all of these pitchers not caring about injuries because they know if they get 120 innings per pitcher, it's going to be so good that they're just going to be that good.
Yeah. I joked about this with Dave, I think, last week, or maybe it was Loxus. I can't remember who I tell all these things to. But when the Dodgers signed Kershaw, it said pending physical. And I'm like, it's the first time ever he needs to flunk his physical because they want to put him on the 60-day injury list.
Yeah.
That's why they waited. They literally waited until, because the Cubs and Dodgers because they're going to Japan, their window for putting guys on the 60-day was earlier than everybody else's. Mm-hmm. And the day that it opened, the Dodgers signed Kershaw. Normally you do that because you're going to put somebody else on the 60-day injured list.
Yeah.
But they're just going to put him on it because he's not going to pitch until.
But why would it? But then why? You knew he was going to re-sign with them. Like why even bother signing with them?
Because now they could immediately put him on the 60-day injured list. They never didn't have to pretend to waste a roster spot. They didn't have to juggle one. They just signed him and put him on the injured list.
No, but I mean, why would he even sign now? Why not wait a month for him to sign or 60 days?
I think he wanted to start actually working out with the team.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Want to get away from the wife. I need to sign. Hey, Andrew, I need to sign today. Would that be good? How about tomorrow? Today would be good.
That was cursed for Tom Brady. Right? Giselle left him because he wanted to play football so bad.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Giselle may have had other reasons for leaving too.
Yeah, so got very much into what was it? Not taekwondo.
Soul Cycle, right?
Whatever it was. I thought it was some jiu-jitsu or something. Her sexy boyfriend who was impregnated her.
Wait, I thought that was Portnoy.
Yeah, I could be confusing that with Portnoy, honestly. So, okay.
Well, they're very often confused. Tom Brady and Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
The 6'5" quarterback and the 5'5", whatever he is.
Yeah.
Justin Turner's wife. She's from Indiana. That's apparently a big reason why he wanted to sign. She's very attractive. He did very well for himself.
Good for him.
So, if Taylor wants to interview her, that's one I'll be fine with. Go ahead. I know it's not a mom. I know it's not a mom, Taylor. You might want to stretch a little bit and actually have to interview a spouse. But let's go for it. That'd be all right.
Right. Can't wait for that to take up whole 2 innings of a broadcast.
Of a regular season broadcast.
Exactly.
The opener and the second game are both going to be on at 5 o'clock in the morning are both going to be on the Fox networks. Opening day, Big Fox. Day 2, FS1.
Right. Oh, okay. All right. I think I got that.
So I would guess you're getting you're getting Joe Davis. He's going to be there anyway, so you might as well be screaming into the Fox mic. And then John Smoltz bitching about it, having to get up about how jet lagged he is. That'll be fun. He's always so cheery, so it'll be better.
That'll be a good alarm clock at 5 a.m. for us.
But if you want to, you will be able to watch it on Marquee. So if you can't get enough Boog and Jim, do you think they'll be there? Or do you think the Marquee will do some shitty remote broadcast
like they did in 2020? I want to correct you on one thing. Even if I wanted to watch them, I still couldn't watch them on Marquee.
That's right, because you can't. Well, you could. It's not that you can't. You just don't.
It's that I won't.
Right.
Yes. You could, no matter what, you could pay $20 a month and have them beamed onto your whatever device or whatever you want. You could get them.
Just mark yourself in Istanbul.
You guys heard the good news, right? That they have a permanent number 2 now for when Boog is gone. There's no more rotating.
Yes. Your favorite broadcaster. Yeah. Alex Cohen.
Wait.
Alex, AAA nitwit. Alex Cohen is the new backup.
Is that the guy who told you that you have to watch 100 games?
That was Jim Taco. That was a different. Okay. That was the great Jim Taco. That story was a lot funnier before Felix PA turned out to be complete shit. As Jim ended up being right. I don't know about the 100 game thing, but about Felix not being that good. He ended up being right. Now, Alex Cohen, the Iowa Cubs, voice of the Iowa Cubs, is going to be he's going to do all the boosts. He's going to do a lot of Sundays.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then whenever Boog needs some time off. So no more Pat. No more Beth Mowens, who I actually really like. I think Beth is good.
Yeah.
That's a shame. I enjoy when Pat's doing the TV broadcast.
Yeah. I appreciated the fact that Pat just did the radio broadcast on TV.
For sure.
He's talking way too much for TV, but it's that's Pat. It's fine. What's he going to He's got to do 158 of these on the radio. He's going to sit there and consciously just do your thing. It's fine.
Sure.
Yeah. That's fine. Plus he's he's sitting there. He's I would love to have a producer give him advice. He's are you in the Hall of Fame? Are you? Because I am.
Yeah.
Because we know what a asshole Pat is. I'm sure he's just really ripping guys left and right. It is funny. So you remember Andy Mazer?
Yes,
he was the third
man in the booth on WGN. Yep.
He went out to San Diego, and he was the backup to Dick Enberg.
Okay.
So there's Dick Enberg, right? This guy that especially people of Oleg and my age. Dick Enberg was this paragon of. He was a great announcer. He was a great football announcer. He did the Bears He did the only Super Bowl the Bears are ever going to win.
Right. And Merlin Olsen, right?
Yes. He did college basketball. He was on one of the greatest college basketball announcing teams of all time. It was him and Al McGuire and Billy Packer.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great because Al didn't like Billy and would make fun of him on the air. It would really piss Billy off, which was great. Dick Enberg did one of the greatest basketball games I've ever seen. And it was toward the end of his career, and it was him and Jay Billis. They did Illinois and Arizona when Illinois had the frantic comeback to go to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
Dick was all over that. So I was like, Dick's great. So I know somebody who knows Andy and said, Andy got there. He's all excited working with Dick Enberg. And after a week, he's like, God, Dick Enberg is a fucking asshole.
Oh, man.
So
I met Andy Mazer. Was that the end of your story?
That's the end of my story. Yeah.
Very funny.
Yeah.
I met Andy Mazer once. He has a really cool dog.
Does he?
The dog's name might be Bo. Yeah.
Now, you can always tell the end of my stories because that's when the huge laugh comes.
Right, exactly.
Sometimes I laugh in the middle of your stories.
That's true. Yeah. So anyway, there's that. So we got a lot of Alex Cohen. I'm really excited about that. But I have a lot of Cub games these days. I watch and don't listen to.
Okay.
I got a lot of other stuff going on. I got maybe a more interesting game on the TV that I have the sound up on, and the Cubs are over there, so I can keep an eye on them.
Yeah.
Especially if they're going to just completely torpedo their season in May again this year. I did not expect to watch and not listen to games last summer, but after a while, I was like, well, shit, I guess I might as well.
They have they have players worth watching. It'll be a good year.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see Kyle Tucker. So he probably make his
absolutely
flip in spring training.
Yes.
Yeah. But
between Tucker and Steele and Shota and Seiya.
I guess one other spring training concern I would have is, one of the first days of spring training, it was reported that Javier Assad had some kind of like oblique strain, right?
Mm.
Do we know is he out of options at this point in his career?
That's a good question. Gonna have to go to Arizona Phil's page.
Okay. Oh,
because he's the one who keeps the. That's where you go.
God.
No,
okay, so it's two
options.
I feel
just
like
the one thing that I would say that they could do. Sorry, go ahead.
Their baseball's doing this weird thing. Players teams are being awarded based on complicated mathematical things, like an extra option year on certain players, and I feel like he was one of them.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Oh, was he? I don't think I.
It started with. I don't know if it goes all the way back to COVID, but it was something like that, where all of a sudden, a guy who typically would be out, they'd be like, actually, he's going to have one more.
Yeah, but
I'm sure the players love.
Yeah, I don't think they award those till after the literal third option year, and Assad's got 2 left. So I think I don't know if he might. I could be wrong.
Gotcha. Just the thing I was thinking about with him is that he could wind up being this year's like Patrick Wisdom out of spring training, where like you IL him to start instead of having to cut him if he was out of options.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's why it's another curious thing about the Colin Ray signing is that he doesn't have options. And so, I mean, he's like an emergency starter for you, but then how valuable is he in the bullpen? And it's like he's just kind of this big thing stuck on your roster all year.
I think they're just going to have him around to throw multiple innings. So, starter goes out in the third, whatever shit happens during the year, you've got him.
You had to sign a guy to
more
do
or less
that?
kind of like what. Well, I mean, who else do you have who could do that? Keegan Thompson. You don't really want it. Like if Jordan Wicks doesn't make the team, you probably want him to start more, so that he can be ready as a starter. I'm not that I get what you're saying about Colin Ray. I'm just not that worried about him. Like if he'll make a couple of starts throughout the year, which is fine. Like he won't be good, but whatever.
Yeah,
like he's not going to throw more. He's not going to throw more than 100 innings this year. If he does,
he made 30 for the Brewers last year, right? Like he was
30 starts.
Yeah, he made like every turn.
Wow,
enough that he gave up the second most homers in the National League.
Jeez,
27 starts, 32 games.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's the plan.
Oh yeah,
hopefully that's not the plan.
That's right. We discussed this last time we were all together.
Yeah,
about the Cubs having like 4 out of 19 guys who were, or 4 of the top 19 for home runs for fly ball from last season.
Yeah, well, it was during the Jed complaining about everybody's offensive stats got tamped down by the wind.
Exactly.
And then not bothering to mention the pitcher's stats all were helped by it, including Shota. And me thinking, Shota didn't give up that many home runs. I realized he gave up the 3rd most in the National League.
Right.
And then the guy who was number 2, the Cubs went out and signed. So, fun.
He gave up a lot in the second half, right? Like, his April and May were good. Well, when the wind was blowing in.
Oh, his ERA was ridiculous for a long time.
Oh,
he wasn't giving up anything, much less homers. Yeah, he's, if the park plays more normal, he's going to give up more home runs, but he literally seems like the guy who just manages his way around him.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, plus he's cool. We like Shota, so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some guys get a lot more rope. Pete gets extra rope because he's fun.
Pete
seems like a good kid.
That's the other one. Yeah, Pete's great.
Shota gets extra because he's fun.
Ian Happ's got the podcast, so he gets extra. Yeah.
Oh, he's electric. God, he's a bon vivant. podcasts and hair plugs and coffee. And
I hate admitting it, but I was there in the room for it. The interview he did with Sammy was actually pretty damn good.
I gave him full credit for it. I expected it to be a train wreck, and I was actually really impressed. I thought it was it's the best I've ever seen anybody interview Sammy, because they just talked. He got Sammy to like talk about baseball instead of, because Sammy has all the like pre-planned answers to everything, and he got him to like. Although, and we've talked about this, and they also got him to lie out of his ass about. Sammy didn't know he's lying, but he's like, "Oh, did you choke up? Oh yeah, I used to choke up. You never choked up ever. I go to right field when by accident because you were late. Yeah, like, Sammy, we know, we love you. You don't have to convince us, but none of this shit is true.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Well, so it's given the length of the football season now, there is only one weekend on the calendar that doesn't either have an NFL game or a Major League Baseball game, if you include spring training. And that weekend was last weekend.
Yeah. And that's it?
And it's over. We'll have a baseball game or a football game to watch every weekend now until next February.
That's really good news.
All right.
I'm going to Arizona next weekend.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah.
You're going for that innings fest, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. I mean, you mentioned it. Yep. That's right.
Yep.
Are you going to be there? Are you going to be on Thursday for Cody Poteet's debut? Or are you going to miss that?
Unfortunately, I will not.
You're going to miss
bad
Sunday.
Yeah. Bad planning by you.
I know.
You could have got Cody Poteet as a podcast guest potentially.
Oh man. Well, I'll be there Sunday, and it'll be easier to ask him when he's not pitching.
That's true. That's true.
So,
I mean, relaxed.
Yeah.
He
knows his spot on the team is safe.
His 2 hitless innings against the Dodgers to just get his spring cranked up, be ready to go.
I expect 2 perfect innings, like 2 immaculate innings.
Yeah, 18.
Yeah,
18 pitches,
18 strikes. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I didn't get him for nothing.
In one of those council things, they were talking about, what are you looking for in spring training with the pitchers? And you're going with Poteet first and blah, blah, blah. And Craig's like, honest to God, he says, especially this early in spring training, we're just trying not to run out of pitchers.
Right.
He's like, that the whole goal is just to get through the game and not have to stretch somebody out for an extra inning because something happened and you don't have enough to cover 9 innings. He's like, you guys put a lot of thought into like who pitches when and who does whatever. And I'm in the dugout like, all right, we got 4 innings left. Do we have 4 pitchers? So I don't have to.
Yeah.
And even at that, don't they often just call spring training games early sometimes when you reach your last pitcher?
Yeah, you can literally like
we're done.
All right, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hardly ever. Every once in a while, they'll actually play an extra inning, like if it's tied.
Oh, really?
And that's only if both teams have like a pitcher who needs work. It's like, let's do it. Otherwise, it's just they don't care. They don't tie.
Sometimes see like a superfluous.
Oh, actually, what they do now, this was a COVID thing that they kept, is they'll just end an inning.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
If a pitcher's like
really?
laboring and there's 2 outs, they'll just be like, we're done. And then the inning's over.
Yeah.
So they don't have to get another pitcher in. Yeah. They charge real. You'll know. You probably already do. You probably bought tickets.
It was $21. I'm sitting.
Yeah. They charge real money for them, but they're not real games. So if you have to treat, they should treat them like practice because they're practice.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that expensive. Like I was fine with paying $21. It's not a huge stadium.
Yeah.
There's no upper deck, right? Like,
nah.
Or you're not gonna go. You're gonna just take your shirt off and lay on the berm.
I know that's not where we've got seats
and they're like,
down.
That guy move. The glare is. The players are complaining about the glare.
See, that's for me to do when I'm out there. I'm the guy.
Hey, it's
shirt off out on this
We knew
podcast.
Oleg was there.
Yeah, you'll see the reflection on the TV.
There you go.
Well, I can't see the pitch.
All right. Well, yeah. Next time we do this, we'll have actual games. Actually, let's see. We do this every other week.
Yeah, we'll have.
It'll be March.
It'll be March. Yeah.
Oh, flip of the calendar.
It'll be the month that the season actually starts. So.
Whew. Yeah, we'll have to talk about final rosters by then, or rosters for.
Well, look, we talked about this 2 weeks ago. There's they get to do it twice.
Right.
They get to do their Japanese roster, and then they get to do their real one. So
did you ever figure out, or did we ever decide? I heard Loxus and you talking about.
Yeah, from what I understand, anybody on your 40-man roster you can put them on your 20. I think they get an extra. I think they get 27 for Japan.
All right.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And you're going to take extra guys because they've got the exhibition games, whatever. But some guys will just get left. Some of the starting pitchers. Actually, it may have been why they added more exhibition games, is so you can actually take all your starters and get them all work when they're there. That's why, like the Padres and Dodgers were leaving guys at home because they wanted them to pitch on their normal routine.
Oh, gotcha.
Makes sense.
I bet Tom Ricketts hated that idea. He's like, I got to pay for extra plane tickets.
Yeah. Oh, you remember he's going on and still complaining about the lost revenue. Because they lose 2 home games.
Oh God!
It's like, Tom, I'm pretty sure Major League Baseball is paying you to do this, so shut up.
Yeah.
Infield Fly Girl had a good question about because they're playing 2 Japanese exhibition. They're playing Japanese teams.
That's right.
Are they going to be on TV? Because those would be cool to watch. I don't know the answer.
To watch.
So
those would be cool to watch.
To be determined.
I have some friends going out there. They were able to get 4. There's 4 of them going. They were able to get 4 tickets to one of the exhibition games, but they were only able to get 3 tickets to one of the real games. Yeah. That's going to be an awkward conversation with someone.
Yep.
Well, just do like a certain Cubs fan and start a GoFundMe for it,
Oh,
or, yeah. My buddy Lefty can put himself on eBay.
My nephew and his wife are going on their honeymoon. They're going to Tokyo to go to Japan. I don't know when. Okay. It's not to go see the Cubs, but I was that was the joke at the wedding. Was everybody like, what'd you get them? And everybody was like, oh, they put on their round trip tickets to Japan were on their registry, and that was everybody's joke. Oh, I got them the tickets to Japan. And then we'd all sit around like, can you believe those fuckers put round trip tickets to Tokyo on their wedding registry? Jesus Christ.
Or they just put 1 ticket twice.
Just like, one round trip. The other one.
Wait,
those two can have an awkward conversation about which one is going on the honeymoon.
Exactly.
I only got 1 ticket. I guess it'll have to be me. What?
Yeah. Wait a second.
Many of us have herpes.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. Got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much. Awesome.